send us a. Good morning, Chris.
Breaking news, Anthony. No more guests ever on How to Founder. I think you just made that decision.
I'm a little annoyed with we were supposed to have Jason on and he canceled on us once and I'm like, is it us? And then he's like rebooked and then he canceled on us like this morning. So
It's
I think it's
100%
him.
us.
It is. I think it's him. I'm gonna blame him. My ego can't handle that it's me. So
I think it's. I think that this is starting to be causation, not correlation.
hey, I have a quick PSA. So I have a buddy looking for somebody. He runs a farm here in Weld County, and he's looking to assist in milking their cows. But the one requirement is you must work well with udders. So if you know anybody,
well, I'll let you know. I don't really like to open up about this, but we've been having some conversations with my wife lately, and she texted me the other day. I was really excited to get it. She says, "Hey, wish you were here." ... And then the picture of the cemetery came in as well.
Oh, that's
she does it every time she passes a cemetery.
What I'm really confused about is, how can a cemetery raise prices and blame it on the cost of living? Thank you for setting me up for that one.
Well, I was going to say that I just set you up. I didn't even know that I set you up for the dad joke. Fully set it up because, just so all of our listeners know, we do no coordination here. We do no actual pre-production meetings.
I think they know, Chris. I don't think you need to. I don't think.
I think our guests know as well, which is why they tend to cancel us. Anthony, actually, I'll go to the opening. Are you actually ready to raise capital? Are you just hoping you are, Anthony? Shocking stat. According to DocSense 2023 startup fundraising data, founders spent an average of 58 days actively fundraising, yet 65% failed to close.
58? 58 days seems low. Like that's every founder on here that's raising is like 58 days. I wish it was 58 days.
Yeah, but then 65% failed to close because they pitched before achieving product market fit indicators. Ben Barnes at First Round Capital discovered this when analyzing failed pitches. He found founders consistently misread soft no's as encouragement, waiting months chasing investors who'd already mentally passed. Today, on How to Founder, we're talking about getting rejected by investors. It's something you and I know a lot about. No, we're not. We're talking about, are you ready to actually raise capital? I'm your host, Chris Franks. With me today is the effervescent Mr. Anthony Franco. You are looking spry. You sound terrific. You look like crap, but that's every day. So
yeah, I don't know if I'm effervescent or if I just need to pass gas, but thank you for that.
Maybe both. Maybe both. Can we just say it's both? So, Anthony, as we dive into this topic, how many people have said no to your pitches in your life while fundraising?
Not as many as I hoped. Like this, I think that
as many as you hoped.
Yeah, because the soft no's are worse than the hard no's. So I think that's actually a really good opening because, in reality, I know there's this working philosophy within venture capital and even angel groups where you don't want to ever tell a founder something negative. And I get why that is because I know a lot of founders that don't handle negative feedback very well at all. So I understand, and you can literally have a founder complain about you and ruin your reputation as a VC. So I totally get why that is there. but it does more harm than good when you tell a founder, well, here's some soft nose. I'm sure you've heard soft nose, Chris, but here's some soft nose. Well, do you have? I'll look at it again once you have a lead. That's a no, right?
Right.
What I need to see are these three things from you, and then I want to hear back from you, or you're not quite ready yet, or you.
Yeah.
The best no you can get is you don't meet our investment thesis. That's an absolute no. What you should not do as a founder is then go and try to fit into their investment thesis.
Well, let me go change my entire pitch.
Yeah,
Right?
you're gonna then you'll get a really hard no, like or a different no. That's a no, and if you try to change your company to fit them, that's going to be a red flag for them. Chris,
Yeah, I mean, my no's have been, sir, could you please leave the office? You do not have an appointment here today, sir. Why are you here? Sir, are you homeless? Do you need services? No, it's
and that was when you were dating.
exactly. That's when I come home at night. That's the the it's funny. I want to go back in time a little bit and I want to talk about some history because I joined a group called Founder Institute. I was trying to reboot it in Denver, it didn't really work out. But Founder Institute, the guy who founded Founder Institute is a guy named Deo Resi. And Deo Resi also started a group right before that called The Funded. And The Funded was the first crowdsourced, very early Web 2.0, the first crowdsourced ability for founders to give feedback about venture capitalists. It was fucking great, Anthony. I mean, these VCs got roasted because for the most part, go figure, without any sort of accountability, these VCs were absolute jerks to these founders, particularly ones that they didn't think were really good or serious or whatever else. And so the backlash on that was exactly what you're talking about, which is then they didn't say no anymore. They also, being the lemmings that they are, the people that passed on Uber thought it was a terrible idea. I thought it was a terrible idea too. Never want to be the ones that were like, oh yeah, we passed on Uber. They want to be the ones who were like, no, we were thinking about it. We just weren't quite ready to pull the trigger. And so you get this double whammy of having a VC actually tell you no. And we as founders are fucking delusional, Anthony. When somebody like
Chris,
you're
watch
telling me
your
there's a
language.
chance,
We're trying to be
I don't know.
PG-13
I
here.
think now that we don't have guests anymore, we can just be ourselves. We can just be who we actually are. I think our listeners, all four of them, actually have seen through the veneer of us not us in any way.
That's very
Right. So I think that the idea here is that we as founders are so dialed into this idea of hearing a yes that a soft no can feel a little bit like a yes. And so we're trained mentally to kick in doors and never take no for an answer, to persevere. But soft no's are devastating. They're terrible and they're bad. And so I think that the first piece of advice, Anthony, is what do you do when you get anything other than I won't cuss, a heck yes?
Well, there's a difference between a soft no and you.
Sort of get
The
out of my
hard,
office.
the hard part is it's difficult to decipher between they'd be in if I do X, Y, and Z, and they're giving me a no, but doing it politely. So, look, I it's easy to kick the VC, kick the investor, and I know that's your point of view is that all investors suck. I don't necessarily agree with you on that, Chris.
I do not think all investors suck. I think
No, you
all
did. You
VCs
literally just said that.
yeah.
So let me give you.
Congratulations, you're never raising capital. Great job. Well done.
Let me put it. Let me put this on. For the love of founders, put this on founders. So when you don't raise capital, it's your fault. Period.
Period. Right.
It's your fault. It's not the investor's fault. It's not the investor's a jerk. It's not the investor didn't understand. It's not they strung you along. those are all excuses. If you're looking to raise capital and you don't, it's you. It is
Let me
100%
play devil's
you.
advocate here because this is an
Yeah.
important conversation. What are the times when it's not my fault? I mean, and I'm thinking back early days in Denver. We had like one venture fund. We didn't know anybody on the coasts. It was hard to kick in doors there. Is there ever a time when it's like, look, structurally, it's just not, you're just not going to raise capital and you should probably figure out a different way? Or is it truly every single time you don't raise capital, it's because of you and your business?
It's because of you and your business. Yes, it's so either you have I mean, let's look at the reasons why businesses don't get funding. One, you don't have a business that is suitable for raising capital. That's that's typically what I mean these investors want to invest, right? They want to lean in. They want to deploy capital. And if you don't have something that fits the way they think the market is going to um, trend towards, they're not going to put money in you. And then there's pattern matching. Investors do pattern matching. You have to recognize this. Does this look like something that has already succeeded? Which seems counterintuitive, right? You're trying to destroy or enter or change a market. So you're like, no, we're not like anybody else, because if we were, we wouldn't be capital ready. So there's this like two-sided of it. If I was capital ready, I wouldn't be, this would be easier, but I probably wouldn't be capital ready because now I'm just like everybody else and it's going to be harder for me to compete. So you're trying to thread this needle of market differentiation, but also pattern matching with your investors. It's very difficult. So that's number one. The investors don't see the business as 10xing their money. That's what they look at. They look at, are you going to 10x my money? Are you gonna take my 100 grand and return a million? Are you gonna take my million and return me 10? And if they don't see that, either you've started the wrong kind of business or you haven't convinced them that either the timing's right, which is a big piece of it, that your differentiation is enough, or there's something off about you. It could be they don't like you.
I
Sit with that
mean,
for a second.
well, I mean, I know that you have improved your personal hygiene quite a bit since that
For
feedback
this
you
reason.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Showering has become a normal part of your routine at this point. Yeah, no, I think that it's a really good and it's a very difficult pill to swallow for founders because we want to believe that it's always them and it's always some other enemy. At the end of the day, capital will flow to companies that need capital that are going to work, or at least have a really good fighting chance to work. I think that the other piece, there are well two other pieces that strike me. Number one is I didn't realize this until much later, is most VCs have a matrix. They say, we believe the world's going to go here, here, and here. And if your company fits into one of those boxes, which is hilarious, right? My company doesn't fit into any box, man. We're revolutionary. If it fits into one of those boxes, they'll consider you. If there's already a company in the region of that box, then they'll pass on you just because there's already somebody they've invested in that area and they don't want you anywhere close to their investment. Um, and then, second thing is remember timing, Anthony. Timing is huge here. Capital, we've gone through the last 4 or 5 years has been nuts in the venture capital world.
It's been really hard to raise capital for a lot of companies in the last 4 years.
I mean, but we before that we went through this wild boom where
Yeah.
valuations shot up and there was a big FOMO. It was kind of a bubble market almost in startups. And then since then, really a lot of people have stopped writing checks. They've kind of really slowed down their deals. I'm not saying that deals aren't getting done and people aren't getting checks, but it is slowed down a lot. All right. So we've talked about kind of the good, the bad, the ugly here, but let's start talking about, let's assume that you're building a company that is going to be a venture scalable company. We've talked about this in the past. Remember, probably less than 1% of all companies ever should even seek venture funding. It's a very narrow company that is trying to attack the market in a very fast way and gain rapid market share. And all the things we've talked about in the past, you're throwing gas in a fire, and a lot of times that thing just blows itself out, right? So, but let's assume that you do have one of those companies. You really have an idea. You think it can scale. You think it can go fast. When do you start thinking about raising? I know even as you're starting the company, but anymore, we're trying to kick the can further down the road as founders to raise on our terms, not the investors' terms. How do you start to think about that problem? Just frame it up for me.
Well, let's talk about the stages quick, right? So if you're a dream and an idea, you're very specifically going after the triple F. I call it the triple F: friends, family, and fools. That's what angel will call it. So if you're not willing to ask your friends and your family for capital to raise your company or to start your company, now maybe you don't have the friends or family with capital, but if you wouldn't ask your rich Aunt Bertha for 20 grand to get started because you don't want her to lose the money, then you don't believe enough to go then you shouldn't be asking a VC for it, bluntly.
I 100% disagree with that statement, but I'll let you finish before.
Now, it doesn't mean you have to go ask her.
Okay, fair enough. Because don't ask me at Bertha.
Yeah, I agree
real
with
awkward.
I agree with you, but if you're like, oh, I don't want her to lose the money, like if you feel bad that she's going to lose the money,
that's the mental framework that you go through. Okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
So you first of all, you have to check yourself. Do you believe? And then if you really believe, and I'm not talking like psych yourself out, look in your mirror, slap yourself, and start saying you could do it. Like that's not it. Like, do you believe? Do you see in your head how this thing becomes a $20 to $100 million company at its worst? Now you can start talking to, now it's time to start talking to angel investors. So angel groups in your area. Here in Colorado, we have Denver Angels. Actually, Denver Angels wouldn't be a good fit because they want to see revenue. It's probably like Rocky's Venture Club and other angel groups. And there's angel groups across the country. And before you write a pitch deck, before you solidify your idea, go talk to a couple of friendly investors. People will sit and have a coffee with you and just say, hey, look, I have this idea to do X, Y, and Z. What do you think? And get feedback from treat investors like customers. Product market fit your idea with investors first to see if they've, how many times have they heard it, how many times have rejected something like that, or why do they reject ideas, and get an understanding from investors on why they lean in and why they lean away. And then you can start crafting your idea. So, and then you have to start and go on a tour. Basically, you have to go and be willing to look foolish 1,000 times in front of angel investors in order to raise the capital that you're going to need.
Well, we
then
do that
ask
every
yourself,
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Anthony.
yeah,
So we're not
and
afraid
then
of
ask yourself something really important. If I put the same effort into going to get customers, would I get customers? Customers are easier to close than investors. So if the answer is I can go self-fund this through customer acquisition, then go do that. Go talk to 100 or 1,000 customers before you talk to angels. What do you think, Chris?
I want to. There's 2 points in that, and I want to go backwards because the first thing you said is, hey, treat investors like customers. I completely agree. You have to go in, you have to put efforts. Rule of thumb is it takes at least 90 days to raise $1 of capital, and it's a full-time job for one person, period, hard stop. And that's for people that are well connected, that already have networks, etc. backing up for a second, just practically, you're a brand new founder. How do you find the investors to go pitch? It's way easier, I think, today than it was before because there's resources. You can go to Crunchbase, you can go to other places. But how would you go about it if you didn't have a network? Give me the practical advice.
So everybody's messaging them on LinkedIn. It's your noise. Everybody's emailing them. Everybody's trying to get through Crunchbase. Go local. Go to an event. Go to a startup event. Go to an event where venture capital. Where go to a pitch event and don't pitch. Just network. So the best advice is to introduce yourself and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about I have this idea for an AI startup, or for building widgets. Would you be willing to spend 10 minutes with me so I can just get your thoughts? I'm not raising yet. I'm not raising yet. I just like poking around at this idea. Would you be willing to spend 10 minutes?" And doing that 10 times, you'll connect with somebody, and either they may not be the right fit, but they'll start. And then you ask after that 10 or 15-minute coffee, and hopefully it turns into a half an hour. You say, "Is there anybody that you know that I should be talking to?" That's how you network. That's it.
I think you're right. I think there's an old adage that says never go in cold to an investor, always get an introduction. And so your first line is always the other founders in your community. Be friends with them first. We love hanging out with each other. You know, famously, Anthony, you and I say you go into a party, we don't really want to talk to anybody unless there's another founder there. Like it becomes way more fun if there's somebody else there that's actually starting a company. So go find those people first, then talk to them, then start to build out the network. All right. So now we're still in this phase of trying to consider when are we raising and not. And you brought up the second point, which is like, hey, if I can go get customers, why wouldn't I go do this? Now, we're living in an age today that I think is remarkable because there's vibe coding, there's the ability for us to spin up MVPs. It used to be where we needed, I still have a scar on my hand, Anthony, of installing a server rack. Like a server in a rack for kids, you have to go look it up on YouTube. I don't know how to explain it to you. But it used to cost $1 million to get a company off the ground. It was kind of just what it was. It doesn't really cost that anymore. I think this is the real inflection point. I think it's the heart of the conversation for today. When do you do this? When do you go out and actually look for money? You're always going to need money. You're always going to be under resourced.
Maybe.
Right? Right. But I mean, now we're in this place where you can do a lot. And the AI gives you the ability to see yourself and
Uh-oh. We just lost Chris. Well, this is awkward for everybody on the call. You're gonna just have to listen to me. I think what Chris is saying, and I'm gonna just talk until he comes back. There's never been a more unique time in startup history in order to start a company without capital. And I totally agree with him on that. I think that a subscription to Cursor and so I started monologuing, Chris, when you left. So
I mean, I just thought what you said was boring. So I just
yeah. So a subscription to Cursor is $20. AWS, you only pay for usage, and Cursor and ChatGPT and Claude Code, all of those will walk you through how to spin up a secure and stable environment that you can launch your own SaaS. I think VCs are becoming very cautious in funding tech companies that can be essentially rewritten by a single person in a garage, in 48 hours. And that's where we're at.
Story like a 12-year-old rewrote, I think it was Reddit or something over a weekend with vibe coding. I mean, it's just remarkable.
Yeah. So now what capital is for is scale. I don't think, unless you're talking about physical products, which is really hard to raise capital for, it has always been. Unless you're talking about physical products, it's going to be really hard to raise capital for an idea, for a software idea, because there's so much opportunity and it's so easy to compete in that space, and it's so difficult to gain IP or intellectual property protection. It is the wild, wild west, like I've never seen it before. When it's time to raise capital now for a software company, I think is once you have customers. Once you have paying customers and you can prove that, you say, if I add $1 into my marketing budget, I get 2 out. Once you can say that, and you can say I have a formula for that, it's going to be really hard to raise capital and say, I just need $1 million so we can get to $2 million ARR. That's a really compelling story for an investor. But I need $1 million so I can go hire a technical co-founder. Good luck. You're just not going to get there.
I think when you start with this conversation, I think it can be challenging for people like you and I that have been around, that have a system in our mind where it's like, okay, we know we have to get an angel round, then we get an A round, we get a B round, et cetera. But one of the core things that we talk about on this show, Anthony, is that you don't want to raise capital unless you absolutely have to. Capital needs to have a very, very specific purpose. And now as founders, we're in an environment where we can put that decision on when to raise capital further down the road and raise at better terms for ourselves. We can raise when we are looking specifically for growth capital. And again, it doesn't solve the problem of quitting your day job. It doesn't solve that initial startup problem. But when you're really going in and raising a serious round of capital, now we can move that further back. You can move it to close to $1 million in revenue, where before it was very hard to solve the chicken and the egg problem. I think that's what makes this moment in time incredibly unique, particularly for software and SaaS and technical founders.
I have this thought, Chris. I think that the age of, I got to be careful here. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I'm just going to say it and you can tell me where I need to peel it back. I think the age of dropping out of college and doing a software startup is gone. I think the opportunity now lies with somebody, with folks with 10 or 20 years of experience in an industry that has deep knowledge, to start a company based on their network and experience. So I just don't think I think it's going to be really difficult. You think I'm completely wrong?
For a different reason, though, which is,
okay,
you and I are set in this world where we're thinking about SaaS, et cetera. Remember, we have no idea what the needs, wants, desires of people in college are, and they can go out and start something that is serving the needs of a group of people that we. I get your point, which is the idea of just of dropping out and starting a company in, I'm trying to think of one of the non-social media people that dropped out of college and started a great company, like the Warby Parker folks, right? That's probably not going to be.
Warby Parker was
their business.
So I think there's a very distinct difference between physical product and software now. Very, very, very big difference.
Let's just get the elephant out on the table, because you and I both believe this. I think software is kind of dead. I think AI is going to replace the vast majority of SaaS software. I think if you're a founder right now in 2025 and you're sitting to yourself going like, I've got this incredible SaaS idea and I love SaaS multiples, I'm going to get an 8x exit in 3 years, it's going to be great, and then I'm going to go buy an island, you should probably rethink your business plan, because in 3 years.
Let me give you a different, maybe potentially a different perspective. I think the age of somebody coming out of college and building an enterprise class piece of software that companies are going to buy is gone.
Fair.
It's
gone. Fair point. Yeah.
If you're a lawyer and want to build a platform for people in a certain demographic that helps them with the law, I'll give you even a better example. So a friend of our girls play soccer. A friend of mine started this company. He was a crane operator for a decade, and said and thought to himself, you know what would be really nice is if I hung a camera at the top of the crane so I could see what I'm picking up. That doesn't exist. And he had no electrical engineering experience. He had no coding experience. He downloaded Cursor and bought a couple servo motors and a really nice camera and built a prototype and raised capital on it. And now they're just now launching hundreds of orders for this thing that when you ask them, when he's you would have never known that it didn't exist unless you're in the industry. And he solved a very niche problem that only he knew what it needed to be and that it was a problem. And I think
so
that
let's unpack this one though.
Vast.
But let's unpack this one. Traditionally, when you go to a VC, it's because you have $100 billion opportunity, right? It's a huge market, expanding, et cetera. In this case, unbelievable business can probably print money, probably needed a little bit of capital because they have some sort of a hardware component.
And he did.
Right?
He raised capital.
But how much did he raise? Did he raise $1 million, $2 million, something like that?
Yeah, I haven't asked, but I would guess he probably raised 1 to 2.
Yeah, which is a perfect amount for him. And if he's got hundreds of orders, now there's other options, including financing, loans, et cetera, that he can go and start to finance that growth, right? I still think that venture capital is the funding of last resort. You don't want to go to it, and you have to have a very compelling case to do it. In this case, I think it's a great example. I get your point, which is domain expertise matters in 2025. It is not about broad experience. I'm just going to start the next, Twitter or X or, or Reddit
Uber
or whatever.
Or Airbnb. Yeah.
Right. But I do think that there's these incredible opportunities that exist for you as a founder if you do, and you're very clever and you can use AI and you can start to get to this place. But back to the original point. So you are now a founder. When are you thinking about raising capital? You've got this thing. We've said that I now can create a version of Vibe Code. I can get to a place. I can actually start to get revenue in the door, Anthony. I think that's the piece where you and I grew up in a world where it was pre-revenue raise. Is it all post-revenue raising right now? Is that the world that we're living in?
Statistically speaking, we've always been there, right?
Right. Yeah. Mostly it's always post-revenue.
I mean, what's the percentage of companies that are pre-revenue that raise capital that do anything? It's a lottery ticket. So yeah, I think it's now under a magnifying glass because look, you have to ask yourself first, why are you raising capital? Are you raising capital so you can go work on your thing and not need a paycheck? Not that so you can walk away from your current cushy gig and you can go take a paycheck for a while? That's the wrong reason to raise capital.
That's the tough love piece, and that's always the case. And you remember Mike Stemple back in the day used to say this, is that people want to raise capital not because they need capital, it's because they want to quit their day job. And they want to call themselves founder and CEO. And that's a tough thing because I wanted that. I wanted that desperately. I wanted to get out of the corporate grind. I wanted to consider myself as part of this incredible group of people, you included, of this founder community. The reality is I shouldn't have quit my fucking day job, Anthony. It was a good day job. I could have worked there for a year before I got fired.
Yeah, and in reality, right now, there's two, right? It's like I'm gonna go. So let's really talk about, Chris, the reason why founders raise capital. I think one of the things that is never spoken about, I think the other things that we talked about are valid, but I think one of the things that we don't talk about is what capital means is it's validation for your idea.
That's a great point. It's like almost emotional validation.
Yeah,
for you.
It's like somebody else believes in me.
Right.
And there's no judgment there. I've totally been there.
Yeah, I have as well.
And secondly, if you got to get back to why are you so passionate about this thing that you're doing? Is it because you're passionate about solving the problem and you think you can earn money at it? Great, then go solve the problem and earn money at it and make it a lifestyle business. Just get enough revenue to where you like if that's you're pocketing 10 grand a month, or 20 grand a month or whatever that number is. You don't need capital to do that. You don't need capital to make your life comfortable. You need capital
I mean,
to
let's even back
actually.
it up. You can get stupidly rich. You, as a human being, can get stupidly rich in a lifestyle business, right?
Absolutely.
We have this negative connotation around lifestyle businesses. Oh, it's a lifestyle business, right? Lifestyle
Most
businesses,
most
you
of the
can get
people living
crazy
in million
rich.
dollar houses, most of the people living in million-dollar houses did it on boring businesses.
I mean, they didn't find it boring. You can do an exciting business. You just went out and did it yourself and you built a company and you grew it. Maybe you have a few employees, but you've actually been able to retain the majority of the wealth creation for yourself. I mean, that's the
We talk about
dream.
this. We say this over and over, Chris, on our podcast. Maybe we should change the name of the podcast is "Don't Raise Capital."
Don't raise,
But but
not a founder, not raise
truthfully,
capital.
I think we're actually doing VCs a favor because what they really want is they want those golden nuggets of founder, product founder fit, product market fit, massive market, and traction. Like if you have all four of those things and you think you're a $1 billion company, then yeah, go raise capital.
And you have
Um,
every indication. You understand how much it costs to acquire a customer. You understand your lifetime value. You understand your product. You have a product roadmap. You have a very clear indication of what the market needs and wants. And all those indications that typically we used to say that's like a 5-year-old company. That's like a C round, right? If you get there, you're a C round company. You're raising $100 million at that point. You need those indicators now. I think you want to have those indicators because when you walk in the door, that is the indication that you can raise capital on your terms as a founder, not necessarily go in and get kicked around by VCs.
yeah, and by the way, I know lots of founders that are in that 5 to $20 million revenue range. They're not calling VCs and PE private equity groups. The private equity groups are calling them.
Incessantly,
It flips.
right?
It
Incessantly, right?
flips.
And it's to the point where you've been in that range. You're like, please, I'm just trying to build a company. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I don't want any capital. I don't want to sell. I don't want to, do a roll up. Look, please, just let me continue to keep my head down and build a company. Okay, so we've gotten to a little bit of this reference, which is we've talked about the modern stage, where you raise, thinking about raising, et cetera. But now we've kind of gotten to a couple of key points here. You really want to make sure you're post revenue and you really understand those key metrics. Let's just run through. I rattled a few of them off. What are some of the key metrics that you think you need to have in your back pocket before you're actually in your own mind ready to go pitch and raise?
Well, so I think the key. I'm going to make this really a generic answer. I'm not going to. I'm going to give you a non-answer. The key metrics you should go to market with if you're going to raise capital are the ones you should be measuring yourself on, so that you don't have to raise capital, which is
Right.
essentially profitable revenue and a machine to produce that profitable revenue. Those are the two things that matter.
It's funny. It's like one of the things that we preach to every founder, I preach it to my kids, is to create optionality for yourself, is to create a series of many doors you can walk through. Famously, and our friend Perry Evans, who I wish that I would have heard this piece of advice before I started my first couple of companies. He said, never start a company where a single vertical can buy you, not a single company, a single vertical. Always start a company in the middle, a very interesting landscape of different companies that can buy you. It's one of the projects I'm working on now. My current company is right in the middle of a very interesting space. The reason why is it creates optionality for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think as a founder now, you do have this option. You don't have to take capital at the same way that we did when we were first coming up. Again, we had to go buy physical computers and install them to be able to, you did it when you were building websites, right? What we what we now have is, can you create a series of options for yourself where it's like, okay, door number one is I keep grinding on this and just build a great company that spins off a lot of cash and I can live an incredible life. I could sell it in a few years. Everything's great. This is like the Joe Bonells of the world. This is Alchemy Security, like an incredible company. He's just grinded. They do incredible work, unbelievable business. He's never taken a dime of capital. He's just gone and built the company. Option number two is, okay, what if I brought in some sort of an early strategic partner? What would that look like? A little bit of money early. And then option three is, okay, what would happen if I strap myself to the rocket ship here? And why would I do that? With the knowledge that most in this world, this is hopefully not triggering to people. The analogy doesn't hold up because most rockets blow up. 8 out of 10, right?
8 out of 10.
Typically,
And no, I would say 9.9 out of 9.999 out of 10 blow up. And for the 0.0001%, I would say a vast majority of those, the original founders own like 3 or 4% of the company.
right? It's so rare that you get stupidly filthy rich as a founder. It's the only stories we tell. We tell the stories about Elon
Yep.
and Mark Zuckerberg buying, half of Kauai. There's so many more founders we know. Won't say his name because he hasn't given me permission, even though I'm dropping names like it's hot today. But there's a founder that we know that started a company with $0 of investment and sold it for $100 million recently. And he owned 80% of the company. Like, it's insane. There was no other investment in the company. He walked away with $80 million. That number is insane. And that was a lifestyle business, right?
Yeah,
Was it?
exactly.
Right.
Lifestyle businesses are. It's really funny, Chris. I've so been here for the longest time that venture capital is where all the money and glory is. And it's the exact opposite.
Right. It's funny though that
And
it's like
it's
we've had
really
this
easy to
narrative.
start a
I've been part
company.
of it. You've been part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
We've glorified people that have raised this ton of capital. Like, hey, congratulations. Great job. And really you're hiring people, you're creating, more prosperity in our community. But for you personally as a founder, it's maybe not the greatest decision. Again, I think you just need to be very cautious about this. All right, I'm going to flip the script and ask you the question then, because we've just kind of gone all around not raising capital. What type of company are you building, or what type of company needs the capital?
You know what,
So
Chris? I'm going to ask you a different question. You're now
let's do it. Okay.
it's going to get to the same answer, but I think your perspective on this is going to be really interesting. You're a VC. Where do you deploy capital?
I mean, so this gets into what I do for a living now versus what
Right.
I've done in my career. I'm in medical. I'm in medical and I'm in hardware. Right now, to me, that space is a space that, even though I didn't come up in that space, it makes perfect sense to me because I'm providing value to people that are saving people's lives. And that to me feels really, really good. Hardware, I've been in and around hardware, but you still need a ton of capital, even though that we're trying to do it way more efficiently than the traditional medtech startup. You still need capital in medical, and it's still the largest market and the largest economy in the United States. There's still unbelievable opportunities that exist in this space. And so I don't know that software is the thing. I think what we used to call Internet of Things or hybrid devices, hardware is still something that needs capital and has tremendous opportunity, in my opinion. What about you?
So you deploy. But what are the metrics you're looking? What are the things you're looking for? So hardware is one of those things where you absolutely have to have capital before you get to revenue. It there you
Cannot, shall not, will not. Has to happen. And
I mean, you can maybe start creating prototypes, right? You can have things that you can show. But I mean, in hardware specifically, you need some capital, enough to build a janky prototype.
I mean, you
In
need to rent
medical,
time at a 3D printing shop. I mean, you
yeah,
have
yeah.
to have something to be able to get
In
something out the door.
medical, and a 3D printer is $200 to $300, so that's all cheap. In medical, it's a lot different because you have, there's like this thing called science that you have to do.
Yeah.
And so usually medical, I mean, I think this is exactly what you're doing, Chris, but in medical, you're partnering with a university that has labs and doing studies and all of that stuff, right? So you're partnering with academics. So that's I would say maybe an edge case for most founders.
In one use case. I mean, but then there's what you were saying earlier is domain expertise. Domain expertise matters in 2025. And so the people that I deal with, the people that are coming up in the medical world are doctors, researchers, people that have worked in medical devices in the past, people that understand what's going on in clinical situations and non-clinical situations, and they can then go and deploy that expertise. But it is a universal truth, which is the idea of me rolling out of bed at 22 and starting a med tech startup. It's just not a thing.
All right.
And I don't think it's a thing.
You have kids in college
too, yeah.
And they come to you and say, Dad, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I want to build something big. I want to do that. I want to be big. I want to be $1 billion company. What do you tell them to do in the next 5 or 10 years?
I walk up to him and I shake him and said, I taught you better than this. Go do something with your life. Don't be idiotic like us. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah. And then you tell them, no, Dad, I really want to do this. I'm going to do it with or without you. What do you tell them?
I think that every business function is going to be changed by AI. And I do think that there is tremendous opportunities in the where business matches artificial intelligence, and the stuff you're working on is right there, Anthony. It's not about going and building another LLM. You're not going to compete with the big, you're not going to compete with OpenAI. Sorry. I think their last round of funding was like $1 trillion. Calling them a startup is hilarious because I hear that all the time. Like the startups, like OpenAI, you're like, dude, how many employees do they have now? They're not a startup. It's about how can you make people's lives easier by using AI to create some sort of system, structure, process. And really, Anthony, I know this is crazy. I think services or hybrid services is some part of that as well.
Well, I would say, go get good at something. Entrepreneurship is not a skill. I mean, it kind of is, but you have to match it with a skill, like a hard skill. You have to match it with a piece of expertise in an industry.
Domain expertise matters.
Domain expertise, like it always has, but now more than anything, you need to be good at something. I'm screwed now that I say that. I'm totally screwed
because you're not really good at anything.
I'm not good. I'm not good at any. I don't suck at a lot of things, but I'm not good at anything.
I wouldn't call myself good at any of those things. I think that there's one other piece just to add on top of this, because this is something you and I have talked about. I don't think we've ever talked about on the show. We've just talked about it in life. The fun opportunities are in places like cranes. The fun opportunities are, our buddy John Rossi started a company that sends alerts when people's tractors are ready from the shop, like from getting serviced, right? They let people know it's not the next $1 trillion AI. I'm going to go build a data center next to a hydroelectric plant. Yes, those are really interesting businesses, but to me, it's going to the places where what are the edge cases now? Because AI will affect every single part of the world that we live in. How can you go find those opportunities? And there are so many of them. You walk down the street and you see them. I see them, at least. What do you think?
Yeah, let me give you the example here. So going back to the crane operator, that is starting it's kind of the tagline is like a backup camera for cranes. It's not really a backup camera, but you get what it is, right? So all the things line up. Massive industry. He has connections in the industry. His investor actually owns crane companies, and is
Is a
really well
strategic
embedded.
investor.
A
That's actually
strategic
something we should
investor.
discuss, right? Yeah.
His investor has stupid money, apparently. So there's this really interesting thing that I was like, oh, this company's gonna go off. One, there's a big safety component to this, right? People die because a crane operator swings a load incorrectly, or doesn't know exactly where his load is as compared to. I mean, think if you're picking something up, right, and it's sitting over here, and you pick it up, what does it do? It swings like and could kill people. So being right over the target really, really matters. You're talking about let's call it a $20,000 purchase for these crane operators, and the crane is like $1.2 million. So it's a rounding error on buying the crane, but so it's a really easy purchase. It saves a ton of time. It saves lives. Like all of and that all came from him having domain expertise, him knowing what the problems are. And you don't uncover those as a startup founder out of college. You just don't uncover those kinds of opportunities unless you're really good at something, unless you have that domain expertise.
Love you talking about your load, Anthony. It's always fun to hear about that.
One last
It
bad
is.
joke for the end.
It is. Yeah, it is funny because this is the cyclical nature of startups, which is when you and I were first starting out, these are the people that were starting companies. They were coming, they're product managers in big companies. They deeply understood the pain. And then we went through this entire phase of people out of college, et cetera. I'm with you. To answer your question directly, if my kids said they wanted to go start a business and they wanted to build it good, I would say go get really deeply knowledgeable about one or multiple businesses. I still think that going and being a consultant or something like that, where you can see multiple businesses, is smart because you get to learn incredibly fast. Okay. Anthony, do you want to do the speed round? Do we want to go through? Do we
I
want to
think
just go to
that so I
founder
was reading through the speed round
fundamentals?
questions.
Okay, let's
Let's
chat
go
around.
through them and make fun of them. Go ahead. Let's go through them and make fun of them.
All right, I'll pull it up. You run the graphic for me. All right, Anthony, raise now with 40% metrics or wait 4 months to hit 80% metrics?
The question is moot.
Yes, that's a terrible question. Series A with weak customer retention or extend your runway to fix it?
The question is terrible. That's another terrible question. It's
Also, you
terrible
don't
speed
just
round question.
magically extend your runway. I don't know
Yeah.
how that. You just wave your magic wand. Oh, my runway's been extended. This is incredible. Take meetings early to build relationships, or wait until fully ready to pitch. This is
No,
a great
take
question.
meetings early. That's easy.
Yeah, and I think you did say this before.
And
There's
take
never a
meetings.
bad time.
Take meetings. I love how that's positioned. Like, do you take meetings from people that are knocking down your door, or do you wait? It's like, no. You go find me. You go look and talk to as many investors and people that you can talk to.
I think with one caveat, which is try to learn and get inside the mind of an investor, but they're not founders. They're not building businesses. They're not in the day-to-day. Try to ask them for their advice as it pertains to raising money. Try to maybe pick a few key points from other companies they've looked at, but don't rely on their feedback as far as actually building the company, because that's where you get really confused as a founder. They're investors. They have a very specific way of looking at the business. Pitch with partial team or delay until key hire close. I don't even know. Raise larger round with aggressive targets or smaller with conservative goals. This is actually a good question.
Yeah. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that right answer, because I've heard both. I've heard raise more money than you need, so raise larger rounds with aggressive targets. Raising larger rounds is bad for the founder, because now you've set your valuation target so high that you're almost guaranteeing a down round the next time that you raise. So I go back to don't raise. Like, Get
I actually
your company to a
disagree on
point where
this.
you don't need the cash. And if you're raising for hardware or medical, raise larger. You're going to need more money than you think you're going to need.
That's my point. Is that where I am right now? Go raise a round that will get you to a place where you can deliver something of real and substantial value. These little, like, hey, now I've gone through this one step and I expect you to double my company's or evaluation. It's just raise enough money where you, the founder, don't have to go raise again in another 8 months, because that's the thing that sucks. 90 days of your life minimum. And typically it's closer to 6 months, right? It's
Chris,
a
where can
terrible
we
growth.
go? Where's some good books to go get more deep? Where can we go deep dive?
I just thought that we would talk for another hour, Anthony. You're just trying to close this? Do you just like you want to get done with this? All right. Great book, Venture Deals by Brad Feld, Jason Mendelson. Secrets of Sand Hill Road by Scott Cooper. The Cold Start Problem by Andrew Chen. And Founding Sales by Pete
Kazenji.
Kazenji. Anthony, I love that you've now fired all of our guests. It's just me and you talking from here on out. I believe we have a Stephanie coming back next
We need to talk to Stephanie about not coming back.
Well, at this point, she may not. She may not at all. She's in Greece living her best life. So, Anthony, get us out of here. What do we have coming up?
So first of all, thanks everybody for listening to Chris and I pontificate about not raising capital. Please be sure to visit us at howtofounder.com, where you can connect with us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify channels. I hope you guys get this, that Chris and I and Stephanie and all of our guests, we believe that you guys are the pioneers of economic prosperity. And we're just truly grateful to be there along the way. Thank you, everybody. Take care, Chris. Thank you.